taught that the only way to find their manhood was to crack a woman open and take it. In my elementary school, there hung a 6x8 frame photograph that read, "Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime." I have been taught how to fish by men who saw women as merely oceans of opportunity. Not humans, but prey, with waves in their hips too tempting not to sail, and plunder their waters by forcing our way through a storm of refusal, seeing women as merely oysters, only food to feed our hunger, their weathered one shells just begging to be cracked open, their pearls more target than treasure. I got my first lessons in fishing when I watched my best friend explain to the police that her 5'2", 130-pound frame was not strong enough to fight off her rapists. They questioned her like she should have seen this coming. Told her, when your world is an ocean of fishermen fighting off starvation, how could you not see yourself as food? The smell of seawater was thick in the air. All I saw were the weathered faces of seamen who looked at her as an oyster who didn't learn how to hide in her shell. Her voice, which took so long to rise to the surface, was being forced back down to a sea of blame, to a depth of darkness and silence. We put all the realities. We are afraid we'll get caught on the wrong prom king, or fraternity, or football player, all just fishing for a good time. We will baptize them in the saltiness of our belief, preserving the sanctity of boys will be boys. But the tackle box rattling in my chest reminds me that I have been given all the tools for hunting. A patrimony of predator to see the weathered skin of women as property, as if their body is not their own. Only a maritime prize to upload for the world to see her body, twisted in a net of bed sheets and accusations like what was she drinking? Or what was she wearing? Those boys are born with bait dangling from toothy smiles and fishing rods. How could she let herself get caught in the first place? As if she wanted her body turned carcass. Only simply guilty of existing, surviving in an ocean of fishermen that decide that an oyster is only valuable based on the struggle it takes to take it. That the difference between women and oysters is how many we can justify cracking open in the pursuit of feeding, saying she deserved it. Based on the way her body curves in her clothing, it's like seeing the oyster shell was so seductively sealed. The fishermen had to break it open. Researchers say it is ethically okay to eat oysters because they lack a central nervous system and don't feel any pain of what we do to them. There isn't any research to say that an outfit can cause the spinal cord to inform the brain, to inform the body that sexual assault is coming, or that any amount of liquor can justify a man forcing himself upon a woman. But it is a fact that we spend too much time teaching little girls how to not be seen as prey, and not enough time worrying why they are being preyed upon. We have to start educating our young boys on a woman's right to survive without feeling like she's going to be devoured. Because if we give our boys a definition of manhood that does not come at the exploitation of women, we can finally stop tiptoeing around the ugly truths scattered and all the broken seashells scattered around our world, and for once, feed our boys something valuable to stay with them for a lifetime. His poem begins with a quote from the Boondocks. "So, brother, heard you want to be a revolutionary. So where your poems at?" I mean, you can't be a revolutionary without the poems. I mean, where's your head wrap? Where's your dashiki? Where's your sandals? What's going on, brother? After the newscaster is done reciting the young martyr's name for the 77th time and the 77th day in a row for the 7 o'clock news, he says goodnight to the audience, drives home with the third. He says goodnight to the audience, drives home in his Honda, kisses his Chevy of a wife, tucks his son in for bedtime, and whispers ever so softly, "Remember, son, there are always more monsters on the inside than outside." He goes to the bathroom, tries to clean the young martyr's name from his conscience. The showerhead is John the Baptist. The young martyr's name is Jesus Christ. He's going to drown the Lamb of God until his fleece is whitewashed enough to be nailed on the cross talk of the nightly news. The next morning he arrives early to work. He tucks the young martyr's name under his tongue like a buzzword for a Milgram experiment he's been studying his whole life for. But the producers ain't no Yale University psychologists. He's going to rip the young martyr's name out of his mouth like he's trying to outrun the storm they strapped the viewers down for. But the lightning hits the same spot every hour on the hour. Gonna shock the empathy out of your viewers. Keep hitting the button while the young martyr's parents sit in electrocution chairs and die again and again and again every time they turn on the television newscaster. Remind yourself the ones in authority told you to do it. You are just doing your job. After the poet is done reciting the young martyr's name for the 77th time on the 77th day in a row for the 77th slam because he's tired of getting sevens, he says goodnight to the audience, drives home with the 30 pieces of silver he used to fill the gas tank, takes off the costume of revolutionary since he's got to get some rest before the next performance. I mean, it must be hard, ranting and raving about the monster on the outside so much, you forget about the monster on the inside. He turns on the news. He plucks another young martyr's name from the headlines like fruit ripe for the devouring. He arrives early for the next slam. He's stashing fake empathy around the young martyr's name like lightning, setting up the strike with murder victims on every line after every line. Gotta shock the tin out of their chest and cloud their minds. So he wants to strike it again and again and again every time. We watch some self-righteous individual pretend that they give a fuck about our dying youth. Poet, remind yourself you do not care what you're spitting. You are just doing your job. The young martyr stands in the 77th Street in the 77th District of Heaven, taps Jesus on the shoulder and asks, why do they keep using my name in vain? Jesus responds, you better get used to it, kid. This is what it means to die for other people's sins. The young martyrs come to me in my sleep. They're screaming to be laid to rest. They're tired of their ghosts being paraded for our entertainment. You are not an activist. You are not a revolutionary. You're not even a poet. You just watch the news like I do. There's a strange metaphors hanging from the pages of your poems. Your poems are a battle cry for a war you're not ready to hold a gun for. All you write are eulogies, and I am tired of hearing you speak on the dead. Great man once told me, Elliot Axel always said, end on, y'all want to leave on a happy note, so this is the last poem of the individual poem, and I want to thank y'all for the energy and appreciate y'all. Today, I hit the snooze button one too many times and woke up already 15 minutes late for work. My car sputtered a fuck you 10 times before finally cranking up, and I guess so. The breakfast fast food lady forgot my orange juice. My boss made it his work, my work. The lunch fast food lady forgot my sweet tea. My back left tire died. I walked 5 miles to a closed repair shop. My apartment left my rent. A bird shit on my head. For all intents and purposes, I am having a bad day. Today, everyone tells me there are millions just like me who wake up to a world that has the sun singing, the birds shining, and it still calls us crazy. Tells us that our happiness is about as important as nutritional facts at McDonald's or as meaningless as poor shaming the hungry. Today, my destruction is tangible. Even still, these days are as fleeting and forgetful as breath. Today, I woke up at the bottom of the ocean. Everyone's hands or pills or medication or prayers reaching in rescue, but this suffocation feels like home. Feels like the only prayer I've ever known. Like my mother telling me to pray it away, but all I've ever known of prayer is the sanctifying of a thing. Whether it be food or simple, and there is nothing nourishing or holy here. This is only the reality of a boy, swallowed whole by his own creation, and I know if it does not bleed or bruise, we do not yet know the words to offer as healing. But if Jonah and his whale is not a metaphor for why I can stay in bed all day and hate myself for every moment, then I do not yet know the words to adequately respond when you ask, am I okay? No. Because the whale is still here. It is not done yet using me as food. As much time I've spent on bended knee trying to sanctify this body, I have made a home where I am being devoured. Digestion is the physical and chemical breakdown of a large body into smaller pieces to be of use. And that is not a metaphor for a Tuesday inside my head, and I do not yet know the adequate response to when you ask, am I okay? I don't know. I don't know if it will ever get better. If this ocean will ever grant us gills and allow us to swim, but I do believe in Murphy's Law, y'all, that whatever can happen will happen. Our breakthrough is in the realm of possibility. Tomorrow, your favorite chicken spot had your favorite piece of chicken, and the drive-thru lady did not forget your sweet tea. Your favorite jeans, they fit you. Your mother, she said, I love you, and cemented your little sister. She told her toilet they were better off seeing other people. Your father, he looked you in the eye and he said, I know. And in that moment, you realize that we are never alone, that we are all in this together. Y'all, today, we all woke up and the ocean was suffocating, but we decided to swim. Said depression wanted us dead. It was going to have to fight for it, yo. If you don't remember anything else, remember this. It is unequivocally, unquestionably okay to not be okay. As much as my hands are reaching out in exhaustion, they are also outstretched to help anybody who needs it, y'all. I have to believe that revolution and change and peace and breakthrough all come when we least expect it, y'all. Like right